Hello and welcome to week 8. Can you believe we only have a few more weeks to go before the end of the semester? It's so hard to believe that it is already July and that we only have 3 weeks left to go in this course. So I hope that you enjoyed getting into the domain section of your textbook last week and doing something a little bit differently by viewing the videos and having to write a journal entry. One of the things that's most important to me is that this course is very practical and applicable for you. I think it's great that you can tell me what's on page 73, but I'm more concerned about whether or not you can take the information and actually apply it in the classroom. And that's really what this section is meant to do. The domain section is so large because we're looking at 6 different areas of development that I really want you to take the time to look at each one individually and then process the information thinking about how you can actually put it into practice in the classroom. So I really enjoyed reading your first journal entries about the physical and creative development. And so this week we're going to be looking at language and literacy and cognitive development. So obviously we can see how those two go hand in hand. Normally in this program, when we're looking at the language development, that's going to be CHD 118, which is the language arts for young children. And the cognitive domain is normally looked at in CHD 146, which is math, science, and social studies. So the language and literacy domain is the blue section of the milestones, and the cognitive domain is the red section. Pay careful attention to the way the cognitive domain is set up because it is different from all of the other ones in the milestones. Because it really is looking at 3 different areas, you're going to notice that there are going to be substrands, which is not seen in any of the other domains. So just make sure that you take a look at that because that's going to be really important when you get to the classes that require you to complete a lesson plan. And you can't just put strand 1 because there's going to be substrands within there. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So as I said, this week you'll be doing language and literacy and cognitive domain. So your journal assignment stays exactly the same. Please make sure that your first paragraph is not just bullet points, but actually pulling out at least 5 things that you really felt like stood out to you and why. But then that second paragraph is almost the one that I think is more important because, again, it's the practicality and the applicability. So making sure that you can tell me how that information is going to be useful to you in the classroom and how you can actually use it. The only other thing for this week is that your schedule is due, so make sure that that is submitted by the end of the day on Sunday. Remember, there's all kinds of resources in Canvas for you. There's a narrated PowerPoint. My video when I introduced the schedule should have walked you through it a little bit. So if you find yourself a little bit stuck, feel free to go back and review those resources. The other thing that I wanted to mention for this week is that right now the application period is open for a couple of early childhood scholarships. So if you're not familiar with the scholarships that are available in early childhood, there's actually 2 that you can take advantage of. And again, I wanted to make sure that I let you know so that you can go ahead and get your applications in. When you go to the Helpful CHD Documents and Resources, which is in the Module section, and you go down to the bottom, you're going to find that I've got these 2 scholarships. This is a website that has a whole bunch of other scholarships, so feel free to browse through those. I'm just not as familiar with them. But these 2 are ones that students take advantage of every single semester. So the first one is through the Department of Social Services. The great thing about this particular scholarship is that it is not based on FAFSA, it's not based on your income, and so they pay for 2 classes up front, which means you never have to put out any money. And there is a cap of 8 classes or $3,570, whichever one comes first. So you always have to go through this one first, and this is open to any person who is pursuing any type of credential in early childhood. So if you're looking at going for our first career study certificate, which is 12 credits, or you're looking at going for the degree, it doesn't matter. As long as you are taking classes in the early childhood field, you are eligible for this scholarship. So this is the website that you need to go to. Scholarship funding is where you're actually going to find the link to create your account and input all of your information. On the left side of the screen, they will have, it's called scholarship information, and so that is where you can kind of read through what the scholarship does for you. And this is kind of a fact sheet for you to help you. But as long as you are taking a class or classes that fall in the early childhood field, then you are eligible for this scholarship. And so you can see that their application period is open through August 1st. So you definitely want to make sure to go ahead and get this in if you're planning on taking classes in the fall. The second scholarship that is available to early childhood students is through the Virginia Early Childhood Foundation, and it's called the Project Pathfinder Scholarship. The only caveat with this is that you have to be working in the field. So if you are, then you have the opportunity to take advantage of both of these scholarships. This one is fantastic because not only does it pay for 2 classes a semester, but it also pays for textbooks. And there is no cap on it. So you can use it for as long as you're in the program, as long as you are working in the field. You do have to go through Department of Social Services. You have to apply for that scholarship first before you can fill out the information for the Pathfinders. But if you are eligible for both, then you're looking at having 4 classes paid for. I don't think it gets much better than that. And so here is the application and some information about that as well. So this one I believe is open until July 20th. If I find out anything different, then I will let you know. But I definitely wanted to make sure that you were aware of these scholarship opportunities so that you can go ahead and register for fall classes. As you know, classes get canceled if the enrollment is not high enough, and so this is a great time as you're filling out your scholarship applications to go ahead and register for fall classes as well. You can always contact me if you have questions about what courses you should be taking, in what order, or I'm just here to help however I can. But as I said, I really wanted to make sure that you got this information in time to apply for both of these scholarships. So I think that takes care of everything for week 8. Enjoy learning about language and literacy and cognitive development in children, and I will see you in week 9.